Welcome back to Sports Bros episode 2. I'm Ethan, joined along Peter. Unfortunately, Jordan cannot join us today. He is in Atlantic City cheering on our men's basketball team and women's basketball team, although they ended up losing yesterday. Um, biggest sports news we have to talk about NFL free agency. A lot of big moves happening this week. One move that last week we talked about the Packers and moves that we thought they'd make. Both DK Metcalf and Devontae Adams going to different teams. DK going to the Steelers and Devontae going to the Rams. Cooper Cup just got released by the Rams, and people are saying they want the Packers to get him. I really don't know at this point. I think the Packers made some good signings. I know you can probably speak on the Giants. With Aaron Banks was a good offensive line signing, and then um, also signing
Nate Hobbs.
Nate Hobbs.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah. See, he's another guy who's like
Yeah.
injury prone a little bit, but an absolute beast when he's healthy. I think some of these contracts have just been absolutely insane. Like I saw DK Metcalf, and obviously it was a little disappointed because everyone was saying he's going to the Packers, but at the same time, what is he, 20 million a year?
Who?
DK?
30.
30. Oh,
30 million a year for 5 years, which
that's crazy.
on the last episode I said I don't think he's a top 20 receiver.
Yeah.
And the fact that he got that contract right after was a little crazy to me. I'm not gonna lie. I am kind of a DK hater, but I think he's a good player. I don't really like the landing spot with the Steelers. I feel like him and Pickens is very redundant as a receiver. So this kind of makes me think George Pickens, he's gonna be a free agent next year. He needs a contract coming up. So I could possibly see them either letting him walk or maybe even them trading George Pickens because it just doesn't make sense, trading capital and giving DK Metcalf this big contract if you're also going to re-sign George Pickens to probably close to the same contract. To me, that's just not good team building. It's a little redundant, but we'll see what the Steelers do.
Yeah, I mean, this morning they just signed Darius Slay, and they don't have Russell Wilson anymore, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I think everyone's saying Rodgers. I mean, it makes sense. He and Tomlin get along so well.
I know it's a two-man race. Well, it's a two-man race with the Vikings kind of like peeking their head in a little bit.
Don't even say that.
It is. I'm telling you.
I know it is, but like that would be the most crazy thing in sports if Rodgers follows Favre's footsteps and goes to the Vikings after the Jets.
Listen,
I would be stunned.
The Vikings have everything.
They do.
They have the weapons. Now in free agency, they built up their O-line. They got a new center, new right guard, Ryan Kelly, Will Fries. Absolutely loaded up with defensive tackles, Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave. They're really attacking this free agency perfectly. But I don't know. I think I would rather just see JJ out there.
That's what I think their like mindset is too. Because like, why else would you let Sam Darnold walk? Like, I feel like they wouldn't have let Sam Darnold walk just to bring in Aaron Rodgers. Like that wouldn't make sense to me if they didn't want to start JJ from week 1.
Well, they're probably going to tell Rodgers, listen, we just need you for 1 year. You know what I mean? Darnold signed a 3-year, $100 million deal, $33.5 million per year. So maybe that price was a little. I think if Minnesota could have gotten Darnold on a 1-year deal, I think they would have done it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, I think Darnold definitely.
I think they would have done it, but that's obviously not how it ended up happening. And you know what? I really want the Giants to get Rodgers because I do not want Russell Wilson at all. Yeah. I just don't want him. I feel like Rodgers gives you. First of all, I think Rodgers is just a better quarterback at this stage. Even at 41 years old, I think Rodgers is better. And I just feel like the connection that he would have with Malik Neighbors, I feel like it would be very Devontae Adams-esque. I feel like it'd be very exciting to watch. Russell Wilson, I mean, he's either a guy who's a check down. He either throws the check down or throws the deep ball. Doesn't look at all towards the middle of the field. He's not good under pressure. Rodgers, he'll at least stay in the pocket and, take the hits. Russ will not do that. But right now, all the reports that I'm seeing, it's leaning towards probably the Steelers, which I understand. Like you said, Mike Tomlin, that defense is elite every year. You do have DK and Pickens. The line's pretty solid, but I don't know. I feel like the Giants, with the moves they've been making, I feel like they're making that gap a little closer as far as teams go, like how good the teams are. We got Javon Holland, Paulson Adebo. Our secondary, it's young, but it could be sneaky like top 10 this year. And obviously our D-line is one of the best. Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns. O-lines, was solid last year. Daniel Jones, he just doesn't know how to read a defense, making us look bad. We brought back Darius Slayton, so I don't know. And Rodgers wouldn't have to move. I think that's another big thing.
Yeah.
Apparently, his house is closer to the Giants facility than it was the Jets anyway,
Oh.
so he wouldn't have to move. But I don't know. I'm not getting my hopes up. He's going to go to the Steelers, and then I'm going to have to watch Russell Wilson for probably half a season.
I love the Javon Holland move though, because like, you lose Xavier McKinney,
Yeah.
but you bring in a guy who's still young, who had a great season with the Dolphins, like absolute beast. That was one of my favorite free agency moves, like all bias aside. I mean, the Bears are scary though. As a Packer fan, I'm not liking, you got to give them credit though. I mean, Poles, Ben Johnson, they're coming in and they're building that offensive line for Caleb.
Yeah.
Like they've got the weapons. Now they signed the center from the Falcons.
Dahlman.
Dahlman. They signed Joe Thuney, another all-pro beast from the Chiefs. They signed someone on the D line too.
They signed Grady Jarrett from Atlanta, who's
yeah.
a bit older. And then they got Deo.
Yeah, that's who it
Odenigbo.
is. Yeah.
25 years old, doesn't have a lot of sack production, $16 million a year, which I think he only has like 13 career sacks. But he's a guy who's like still young, raw, athletic. One of those type of players. So they could probably unlock him a little bit with that contract.
Yeah. I also like Fields. I really like Fields to the Jets, honestly. I think that's a good move. I mean, you're paying him what, $20 million a year for 2 years. I mean, they're going to have to restructure their entire offense.
Yeah.
But I don't hate that move because you already have Breece Hall and Braylon Allen, two dynamic running weapons, plus Fields, who's I always say it's like you had another runner with Fields, and I don't want to discredit him as a quarterback.
Yeah.
But like that is a huge part of his game is his ability to run. I think they restructure that entire offense. I mean, I like that move for the Jets a lot, really.
I think if you look at the bridge quarterbacks that were available, Fields is probably the best option for them. Reuniting with Garrett Wilson, they're close friends.
That was
played at Ohio State together. I don't think Fields is particularly a good quarterback. I just don't. I think he's probably in the bottom end. But like you said, the dynamic he brings as a runner is going to completely change the Jets offense, and it's going to be exciting. I know for fantasy football, Fields is always a top 10 fantasy quarterback because of his rushing. And I think this is a good landing spot for him. Apparently the Steelers were trying to get him back, but I don't think so. It wouldn't make sense because I feel like they would have given him a contract like this if they wanted him back instead of going after Rodgers or sticking with Russ. So it's a little interesting to me.
I don't know though. I don't think he's a bad quarterback. I really don't.
You don't think?
Like the Bears, he kind of got like he kind of got the Caleb Williams treatment. Like no offensive line. I thought he had a really good season with the Steelers last year.
Yeah.
I don't know why they went to Russ. I don't. I mean,
I think Russ just gives more as a passer. Fields does struggle to go through progressions and reads.
He was winning games though.
I know.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like, he struggles to go through. Like if he doesn't if he doesn't make great passes.
That was great because he had I think he had a 10-to-1 touchdown to pick ratio.
It was something insane.
And was like, what was he, 4-1 as a starter, and they benched him for us. Yeah, that's
the biggest thing. And like going back to Rodgers and why I think he'd be so key for the Giants or whichever team he goes to is his turnover ratio is insane. Like it's I don't know the statistics, but I'm convinced it's maybe the best of all time. I mean, on the Packers, like he'd never turn the ball. Like I never saw Aaron Rodgers turn the ball.
He was having seasons he'd throw like 45 touchdowns, 3 interceptions.
Yeah,
like
something insane. And like
stuff.
all of the interceptions he had were like tips. Like that's a big thing is ball security. That like I mean the Steelers are gonna be good though. I like where they are. And I think, like we talked about last week, I think Aaron Rodgers is just getting so much hate because of his off the field antics.
Yeah, but I think that's so dragged out. His off the field antics.
I
know he's a little bit of a weirdo,
Yeah.
But he likes his darkness retreats and ayahuasca. But I don't think it's not like he's starting stuff with the press. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, like attacking his teammates. It's nothing like that.
Yeah,
So.
he's like like people think he's a diva, and it's like sure, but that all has to do with his off the field. Like that's nothing to do on the field.
Yeah.
Like as a quarterback, he gives you he's a Hall of Famer, like first ballot, unanimous, whatever you want to say. Like,
Not top 5 though. Not top 5 though.
Oh man, we're not gonna get into this again. I mean,
Nah, I think he's top 5. Jordan thinks Breeze is better, which
is debatable.
it's
Yeah,
debatable. But going back to the pack, you liked Aaron Banks signing? Because I know that was, like, shocking when it happened. Because
I do.
it
He's a great offensive line. I don't know. They let Josh Myers walk, and I think he signed actually with the Jets
yeah, for
for like
1 year, 3 million,
Yeah,
nothing.
I'm like, at that point, why not just bring him
Bring him
back?
back,
Because
yeah.
now they're gonna have to move either Elgton Jenkins to center, Sean Ryan to center. Like they're gonna have to move
Yeah.
a guard to center
I
now.
saw it's Jenkins
Yeah, it's
making the
probably gonna
move.
be Jenkins, which
And
I don't hate. I mean, he's a great offensive lineman. It's just like I don't know.
yeah, it was just shocking because Packers have way more needs: corner, pass rusher, and they chose to sign a lineman first, who he's getting 19 million a year,
Yeah, that was
which
a ton.
he had a solid year. He's a good run blocker, pass blocker, not the best. And he's 27 years old. So it was kind of a weird move, but the guaranteed money, only 27 million guaranteed. So basically they could get out of it after
Mhm.
this year. So if he completely sucks, they could just cut him. And it's basically a 1 year deal. I don't know. I feel like we should have other priorities. I do like Nate Hobbs. He could
Me
play,
too.
he could
I
play
mean,
inside and out. I always like Nate Hobbs. I think that was a great move by them. As far as pass rushers go, which
they need one.
they need, I think the only guy that's left is Azeez Ojulari.
Yeah, or
who-
if they make some crazy move for Trey Hendrickson, but
Yeah.
you'd have to pay him over 30 million a year.
Yeah,
They're not gonna do that.
minimum.
That's what
Yeah.
he's looking for.
Yeah.
I don't think they're releasing Jair too, and I love that they're not. Like he's too like at this point, if they're just gonna release him, I think he's too good of a corner just to release. If they're not gonna
I
get any
agree.
trade value for him, why not stick it out for another year and see how he does? Like because when he's on the field, he's top 5 corner in the game,
Mhm.
at least.
At least.
And I feel like that's not even an argument.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, and him, Nate Hobbs, they let Stokes walk, which I wasn't too upset about Stokes. I mean, Stokes is solid, but like,
Did you see? I sent this to my brother. The Packers 2020 and 21 draft classes, basically all busts, besides Jordan Love. And I guess you could say Runyon, but he left.
yeah.
But yeah, it's 2 very bad drafts from Goot.
Yeah, and then Jordan Morgan this past year, who hasn't even touched the field. That's interesting. Like,
Yeah.
they're gonna have to go receiver though too. Like, I think at this point they're not gonna sign Cooper Kupp. I don't think that's gonna happen.
I don't know. I think they're one of the teams heavily involved, and I know there's that connection. LaFleur.
I would like it. I would
Yeah.
like them. I just don't think they're gonna do it. I
Yeah.
would like them to give them a chance though. But I also think, like that being said, first or second round, they're taking a receiver. Like they'll take.
I doubt it's in the first. They never take
They never
receivers
take
in the
receivers in the
first.
first.
They should, but I
Should.
doubt it.
I'm a huge Luther Burden fan, and he
Ooh,
could actually
yeah.
fall to the 20s. Like, I would love Luther Burden.
He's going to be a steal because the production wasn't really there this past year, but it was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
for Luther
well, because
Burden.
everyone knew, like, he was the man. And at Missouri, like, who else do they have?
Yeah. Also, Brady Cook was just an awful quarterback
Yeah.
at Missouri, like really bad.
Yeah. No, Luther Burden's one of my favorite college players. Unless, yeah.
I'm looking at the free agency list. I think maybe the steal of free agency might be DJ Reed signing with Detroit, which it's really the only move that they made. But only getting 16 million, he definitely took a discount to go play for the Lions. Because I'm looking, Byron Murphy got 18 a year, Trevarius Ward 18, Carlton Davis 18, and Paulson Adebo all got 18 million a year, and he got 16. And you could probably argue that DJ Reed's better than all those guys.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he is.
Which, man, the NFC North.
It's so tough.
It's a real possibility Packers finish last.
It is.
But-
I mean, any team could. Lions won't.
Lions, I don't think the
But any
Lions
other
will.
team can.
Yeah.
Any other team can. I mean,
Probably
it's-
with like 9 wins too, like minimum,
Yeah.
like 8, 9 wins, finishing last place in that division. I
that's
think
crazy.
by far the best division in football.
Oh, it has to be.
It's going to be a dog
Especially
fight.
with the moves the Bears have made. Yeah. Like, I mean, I saw JC Horn signed for like I'm a big JC Horn fan too.
Yeah.
I know like the Panthers, that was huge for them to
Yeah.
lock him up. Because
He just struggles staying on the field, but when he's healthy, he's a stud.
did Carolina sign a quarterback?
Did
Did the Panthers sign a quarterback?
they re-signed Andy Dalton? That's not what you're talking about.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Some of the quarterback moves we talked about. We talked about Darnold a little. We talked about Fields. Daniel Jones,
To the Colts, right?
$14 million to have a quarterback competition with Anthony Richardson.
That's I don't know about that one.
If that isn't the most interesting quarterback battle I've ever seen in my life, I don't know what is.
Yeah. I mean, talk about like Anthony Richardson, another guy who's like just hasn't had the production that he's needed to.
Yeah, I think he'll get it down this year. I
Yeah.
think I know he's working with Josh Allen's old like quarterback coach who like helped him fix his mechanics going
Mhm.
into his second year. I know he's been working with him this offseason. So I mean, you would think that
He had
would
a
do something.
He had a great rookie year too before he got injured. Like he was doing really well, and then
Yeah.
he got hurt.
And then
Like,
last year it was just like just
bad.
not good. But then like he got benched. Like we talked about Bryce Young got benched and it kind of worked for Richardson, but not completely. And then I think he got hurt again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like he's very injury prone because of his running style. So that's why I think, Colts bringing a guy, Daniel Jones, has played a lot of games. He's looked above average, I'd say, at some points in his career. The Colts, they lost their starting center and starting right guard, so that's going to be tough, but they do have weapons. They have Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, Josh Downs. So I don't necessarily think that's a bad core at all. I think they need to get that line right.
I mean, he had a great 2022 season, right? That was 2022 for
The
Daniel
playoff
Jones.
year, I wouldn't say great. It was
But like,
yeah, he had 22 total touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. It was good, especially for we were rolling out there with Darius Slayton was our wide receiver 1 and David Sills was our wide receiver 2.
Oh,
I don't even
jeez.
know what that guy's doing right now. I'm probably on someone's practice squad or in the UFL. We had a bad receiving core that year and he did make the most of it, but I think our defense mainly led us that year. But yeah, that wasn't he's average at best.
Yeah,
is Daniel Jones. That's his peak.
Yeah.
Which that's the guy you're signing to have a QB battle. I
I
guess
would have
so.
taken Russ over him. Like, if they could have gotten Russell Wilson, like
100%. But I feel like that Russ maybe doesn't want to do a QB battle, maybe, or
yeah,
like
he wants.
because I think you sign a guy like Daniel Jones because you want Anthony Richardson to beat him out. You know what I mean? Russ is a lot harder, I think, to beat out than a Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones, like, all right, Richardson, we're signing Daniel Jones. Go beat him out.
But like paying him that much just for a QB battle is interesting.
Yeah, that is a lot. Especially, let me go back. There's a quarterback that's signed that I think I would have paid more money than Daniel Jones. Mac Jones signed 2 years, $7 million total, 3.5 a year.
That was today, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Daniel Jones signed $14 million for a year.
Like, yeah, like I would put those guys on the same plane, honestly.
I'd probably say Mac Jones is better.
Yeah.
Mac Jones stepped in last year when T-Law got hurt. He played pretty well. He played pretty well. And to only get $3.5 million a year when Daniel Jones is getting 14, I think is crazy to me. And Mac Jones, Mac Jones's rookie year is better than any Daniel Jones year when he led the Patriots to the playoffs his rookie year.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So that was very interesting to me that he signed for that little. Because once I saw Daniel Jones sign for 14, I'm like, oh, Mac Jones is going to get probably 10. But he didn't. So that was
3 is crazy.
Yeah, that was very shocking. Looking at some of the other moves around the league, Josh Sweat signed a big contract. Philly lost Josh Sweat and Milton Williams.
And CJ Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah, so they're clearing up space probably to extend. I know they got to extend Jalen Carter soon. They got to extend. They already did Zach Bond, already did Saquon. Does Devonta Smith, he's already on a contract. Apparently they're trying to trade Dallas Goedert too.
Wow.
Yeah, they're freeing up a lot of cap space for, I guess, the great players they've been drafting the past few years.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I'm not worried about them though. Like they're gonna be fine. They're gonna be fine.
They have the best team in the league. I mean,
it's I don't know. Best team in the league right now might have to go to Minnesota.
You think over the Eagles?
Bro, they are loaded. Like there's really not a single hole on their team. Like on
other
offense,
than quarterback. Well, JJ McCarthy's just
assuming JJ McCarthy could play average to even just above average, like slightly above average. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. I don't care who the wide receiver 3 is. Doesn't matter. Don't need it. Hawkinson. Their offensive line's easily, I think, the best in football after getting Kelly and Fries with Darisaw and O'Neal at the tackles. Left guard, a bit of a question mark, but they could probably just throw anyone in there. Aaron Jones, who's getting older, some injuries.
He's got to stay healthy.
Yeah, but I think they're going to pair him with like a rookie running back. That's a great duo.
Yep.
On defense, oh my God, their front 7 is absolutely loaded. They brought Byron Murphy back. Harrison Smith is back for one last year, most likely.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think if if JJ McCarthy could just be average at minimum, I think this is the best team in football.
I mean, it's tough. It's tough, but I mean, yeah. I think the Lions are always. I mean,
Yeah.
who did the Lions really lose? Like they still have Penny Sewell, of course. Like
Lions didn't
Tough.
lose.
Montgomery Gibbs.
They lost Carlton Davis, but they replaced him with DJ Reed, who's a better player.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
that's. I think the Lions. If
Yeah.
it's not the Eagles or the Vikings, it's the Lions.
You know who's not going to be up there anytime soon? The 49ers. I don't know.
I think they got to trade McCaffrey, dude. That's
I
what I'm
mean,
saying. Like they're already, huge checks leaving.
yeah, they cut so many guys. They cut
whatever
Malik
their
Collins,
safety is. I don't know how to say his last name.
Hufanga. Yeah, Hufanga
yeah.
left. Drake Greenlaw left, and it's
Mhm.
like looking at this team right now. They do have money to spend because they have been cutting. They have around 45 million to spend, but apparently they had a deal with Joey Bosa, and then he chose to go to Buffalo.
Huge move for the Bills.
Yeah, which if he could stay healthy, that's
With Von
another
Miller
guy.
retiring.
Yeah, that's
what he's
another
gonna
guy
say.
if he could stay healthy. But yeah, this 49er team, I think they missed their window 100%.
That would have been insane. Bosa, Joey, and Nick
Yeah,
Bosa.
apparently they had a deal or they were close on a deal, but you know how like nothing's official yet,
Yeah.
and I guess Buffalo probably gave him more money than what the Niners were willing to give him. But the Niners, man, the past 4 years, they've been constantly in the NFC Championship. They've been in 2 Super Bowls in the last 5 years. I think their window's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, and you're gonna have to pay Purdy soon.
Oh man.
They're in trouble. Kittle's getting older.
Yep.
Debo's gone.
Even a guy like Trent Williams.
Trent Williams probably has a year left. I feel like every year he's talking about potentially retiring. They're gonna have to do a hard reset, which is what they're doing this offseason. They're doing a hard reset, getting rid of any really bad contracts or veterans. I heard they're trying to trade Ayuk. They regret the Ayuk contract.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can't forget about trading Devo.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
very, very interesting what they're doing. I think I agree with you. I think I would try to trade McCaffrey, get whatever value you can.
Because they're already paying him so much. Like nobody
Yeah.
wants to take on that contract though.
Yeah.
Given his injury history. That's the tough thing about McCaffrey is who's gonna some team will risk it.
Yeah, 100%. Some team who thinks they're a running back away or because looking at what Saquon did for Philly this past year, Derrick Henry for the Ravens.
Yep.
Top running backs, if you put them in good offenses, you're going to be one of the best teams in the league. You're going to win games. So maybe a team will take a chance, but I doubt it. And then another thing, I don't know if you've seen what Dallas is doing.
Oh, they signed was it Javonte?
Yes, they
Williams?
signed Javonte,
Yeah.
but not even that. The moves that they have been making are very questionable. So they cleared up around 50 million in cap space, restructuring
Mhm.
Dak and Lamb. You
Okay.
would think they're going to go all in.
Yeah.
No, their top signing was Javonte Williams for $3 million. Then they're assembling like a UFL team, like an all bus team. They traded for Kenneth Murray, former first round pick.
Yeah.
They traded for Kyra Lane, former first round pick. They signed Peyton Turner and Solomon Thomas, who are busts basically, and Jack Sanborn, who has been the Bears linebacker 3 for the past couple years. That's the free agency that Dallas is having.
I don't know, Jerry. I mean,
they haven't signed a free agent above 10 million since 2015.
jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So them pushing money back makes no sense because you're going to have to extend Micah Parsons very soon.
Seeing what because who just got a ton of Miles Garrett
Garrett,
contract, Michael Parsons is going to be asking
what was
for
it,
more.
35 a year, 40 a year?
Something insane. I mean, the Browns just went all in.
Yeah, which I mean, good on them, which it's so funny that, money talks.
Did you see what the his agent said about him re-signing? He's like,
No.
"Oh, Miles Garrett had a change of heart. He wants to win in Cleveland." It's like, yeah, dude. Okay,
Change of heart. Yeah, he got $40 million thrown at him with 88 million guaranteed.
Yeah, money talks.
Same thing with Max Crosby. Max Crosby, you heard rumbles of him getting traded. Bank 35 million a year.
Yeah, Packers were looking at him.
Yeah,
he was considering the Packers. They said too.
Yeah,
but everyone's saying "Oh, Packers are interested," and then they don't make moves.
Packers. I say this all the time about the Packers. They could probably assemble the greatest almost Packer team of all time. Anytime you hear a rumor about a guy, their receiving core would be nuts. OBJ is on that. I feel like for years they talked about potentially getting OBJ.
Yeah.
AJ Green, I think, was on that list probably one point. DeAndre Hopkins, DK. It's The almost Packer team is one of the greatest of all
I
time.
think I was talking to my dad about this because he's obviously a lifelong Packer fan.
Yeah.
Watched Favre and them do that, like Favre, Reggie White, that
Yeah.
whole team. And apparently Randy Moss really wanted to come to the Packers,
Ooh.
and Ted Thompson, the GM, didn't make the move because he thought Moss was past his prime, and then Moss goes and plays with the Patriots. This is after the Vikings.
Was this before he signed with the Raiders? Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
And then it was Patriots where he went.
Then they traded him. Yeah.
So my dad is convinced that the Packers are cursed at receiver, like in free agency trades, all that kind of stuff.
I mean, usually because even the 2010s that Rodgers receiving core, it was always built through the draft. With Nelson, Cobb, Devontae, all those guys. Yeah, Greg Jennings, Donald Driver, loaded. But all those guys were through the draft. And I feel like recently they've been trying to replicate that with Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jayden Reed. It's not really working though. It's not working out really to their favor.
I mean, they're good weapons, but they just need one more.
Yeah,
they're one receiver away.
None of those guys are number one.
None of those guys. No.
Like if you pair number one with those guys, now you got a good core. Now we're talking.
And then one of those guys I feel like has a better chance to emerge as a number one. I just think like I would say Dobbs more than Reed, honestly, is closer to being a wide receiver one.
I really like Romeo Doubs. I think
Jayden Reed is better right now, but I think Dobbs is his improvement from last season to this past season was just unbelievable. Like Jayden Reed already had the good year. I mean, Christian Watson's made of glass. I think the Packers are just
You know what I think it is? I feel like none of them get a consistent amount of targets.
Yeah, because Jordan Love just, he spreads the ball everywhere.
Which is good, but but also I feel like that's on the play calling for LaFleur to kind of get these guys targets, design plays just for specific guys. Like I think Tucker Kraft is your guys' best weapon by far.
Yeah, he's been insane.
There were games he wouldn't even get looked at.
Yeah, like
it's
crazy.
But that's all on the play calling. It has to be. So, but I think LaFleur knows that. I think this year he's going to really focus on probably the run game, finally get through Kraft in the pass game. But we'll see.
Yeah. What's your outlook on the Giants, though?
My outlook on the Giants. Okay, I really love the Paulson Adebo move and Javon Holland. I think those moves, they're both only 25 years old, both on 3-year deals. And I really like what Joe Schoen's doing free agency because it's no secret he's on the hot seat, but he's not making desperate moves. Like Dave Gettleman, when he knew he was on the hot seat, he threw a lot of money at Kenny Galladay, a lot of money at Adoree Jackson. He's not doing that. He's kind of signing guys who are going to help them now, but also build for the future. He's getting young guys. He's not paying, these veterans who are on the wrong side of 30 a bunch of money because they have big names. He's being very smart with who he's paying. And I think Paulson Adebo, you could probably argue that he maybe was the top corner in this class just based on age. I know a lot of the other top guys, they're like 29 plus. Adebo's only 25. Yeah. And the past 2 seasons, Adebo, he's led the league in incompletions forced. So he's a very good player. And Javon Holland, I love the Javon Holland move. I know they made a mistake not bringing back McKinney last year, but I also think they were probably blindsided by how much McKinney got. No one thought he was going to get $17 million a year last year. Nobody.
Crazy.
So I think they were blindsided. And I see a lot of people on Twitter. They're like, "Oh, this is such a redundant move. They didn't pay McKinney, but they're paying Holland." First of all, it's a new year. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, we don't care about McKinney anymore. I do miss him, but okay, he's gone. He's a Packer. We got Javon Holland. I don't understand why people are including that in this move. Like, oh, they could have just paid McKinney. No, that's not how that works. And you know what? Maybe Joe Schoen realized, oh, we actually do need a top free safety.
And he is a top. Yeah. Like Javon Holland is an absolute beast.
I know. Last year he was hurt most of the year, but the year before, I think he was the top safety in the league, PFF.
Yeah.
So he's a very good player. Again, only 25 years old. And I don't know if you saw it. He actually called McKinney about like how the Giants were as an organization, and McKinney had nothing but good things to say about the Giants. So I think Giant fans should just stop complaining and just enjoy the good signings. I like Darius Slayton being back. I didn't expect it. I feel like every time Slayton's a free agent, it's like, oh, he's gone, and he ends up coming back. He's loyal. He wants to be in New York. But I also like it because you look at the wide receivers available on the market, they're all older.
Yep.
And even the top guy that I saw Giant fans wanting was Stephon Diggs, but coming off the ACL.
His history with attitude. Like if he wanted out of Buffalo, like no offense to the Giants, but like if you don't have a good quarterback, like is he really going to stay?
Yeah, I 100% agree. So that's why I like getting Slayton back. And then The other big move, they got Chauncey Golston, who was like the third edge rusher for Dallas, had 5.5 sacks this past year. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know much about him, but I went on Twitter and I saw Cowboy fans were mad that Dallas let him go. And I think anytime you see the other team's fan base mad that he was like, oh, I think it's a great signing for your team. So the Giants, they don't have much holes left on this roster as far as starters go. I think they need a right guard to start. They obviously need a quarterback. And then I guess through the draft, just get some more weapons, get maybe another running back, another receiver, another tight end, and fill up some. They definitely need a defensive tackle next to Dexter Lawrence. But I'm surprisingly optimistic going into the season so far. Got to see what they do in the draft. But I don't hate what the Giants are doing.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like they're definitely making the moves
Yeah.
that they need to make. And like same with the Packers too. People are complaining about it, but like fans don't know more than the GMs.
No.
Like everyone's gonna complain.
We're
It's
also 3 days into free agency. Let's give it some time. Let's wait.
Anyway, I think that's all our time, Peter. But thank you everyone for tuning in to Sports Bros. This is Ethan. It's Peter signing out.